In this video, I want to be going over what are the best trait resonance traits you should be getting on your weapons, armors, and accessories. We'll look at the total costs, then which ones to use for PvE and PvP. I also want to give some extra tips with regards to the new treasure hunting event and what loot you should actually expect to obtain from these. People have also been pointing out that yes, you can potentially just go to tier 3 on the Material Transmutation, just selecting weapons for pretty much the most efficient way with trading in gear to get trait resonance fragments. Also be aware, those of you who've obtained blessing pouches and say locked them, you maybe have done that with nebula pouches, will be getting a fix soon. The devs have acknowledged it and are investigating it. They also posted that players on PlayStation and Xbox may be experiencing some quests causing UI to become unresponsive. So let's go through everything in this video. If you read through this guy's Reddit post, the ultimate takeaway is within a spreadsheet. Thank you for creating it, and yes, it does give us some interesting comparisons. He states here that the most efficient way based on gear is going to be just tier 3 and you select a weapon. The reason behind this is when I go and transmute now, I'm going to get another purple weapon back as guaranteed. I can then feed that weapon into the system again, and all I need are these 3 items in order to reach tier 3 again. So it ends up 25% more efficient doing this versus getting to tier 5. However, it's going to cost you 150 million solent versus just 17 million, all to get you 1,300 fragments, which is indeed how many you need in order to craft 260 trait resonance stones in order to get the 20 required to unlock the trait guaranteed per piece. And keep in mind, this also then requires 520 of each of those 3 ores. So just because it's the most efficient way to do tier 3 with the weapons, in terms of just exchanging gear, it is not in terms of solent and the lucent you could gain through accessories. Like I said in my previous video, just get to tier 5, select accessories, and craft these, because those traits will sell over time far better than any of the weapon or armor traits due to their accessibility. It's not worth spending so much more solent just to save a few more items that you're going to get more than you know what to do with anyway. Now if we jump to exactly what trait resonance traits you want to be unlocking per your item slots. Well, quest log has been nicely updated, and therefore we need to update this with trait resonance. And if we look at PvE first, you have a few options, but it ultimately boils down to this. Weapons, you're going to have to make the decision of going heavy attack or cooldown speed. My recommendation would nearly always be cooldown speed. I have looked at the extensive breakdowns, compared 68% and 62% cooldown speed. This one then also having the bonus heavy attack of 80 via the trait resonance. Comparing the two, you can see it's over a 0.5% gain in terms of the cooldown speed. And this is with just having like 780 heavy attack. Many of your builds might have over 1,000, and therefore the heavy attack will get even more diminished. And this is already at over 60% cooldown speed, which probably not a lot of you have because it requires some pretty expensive accessories. But the more cooldown speed you have, the less effective it is. And even at 68%, that 6% is still better than just an 80 heavy attack. So on most builds, when you're looking at DPS for PvE, cooldown speed will be the way to go. Unless you have a build which has super low heavy attack. And then you simply gotta choose what you're gonna use for all of your armor pieces. And for Invocator and Dark Blighter, you pretty much just wanna go full max mana on every single slot here. All 11. This will get you a total of 3,300 max mana. As per Invocator and Dark Blighter, you're gaining a ton of base damage through Noble Revival with the Warrior's Gambit Mastery, along with Staff then even having a further bonus to max damage with Power Surge. So if we ultimately look at an improvement of 6% cooldown speed and 3300 max mana, you will find a damage gain of over 4.4%. Again, because these bonuses increase your base damage along with then having the extra 6% cooldown. If your class is not reliant on max mana for getting that extra base damage, then go with max health or mana regen if you struggle with that. But now we jump to PvP resonance traits. This gets a little bit more complex, and there's no real one solution fits all like there is PvE. You're going to have a bunch of options on your weapons. I can't tell you which one is best because it's going to be dependent on your build. Sometimes you might need more hit chance if you're facing enemies which have a lot more evasion than your hit chance. You might want heavy attack to land more of those heavy attacks, especially if your targets have a lot of heavy attack evasion, at least if you can get your heavy attack above their evasion. You want cooldown speed if it's very important for you to maintain certain buffs or you're always stuck in the fight. In general, cooldown speed is not that important for PvP if it's small skirmishes like jumping in, killing a guy and then disengaging. And then there's the option for max health and even CC chance if your class relies on landing, say, stuns, binds, silences, then this can be very important. For armors, you pretty much only have the choice between endurance and evasion. And again, that will depend on your build. What are you going for? Which do you need more of? All 5 armor stats will have the same traits and you'll have to choose, and it will ultimately be a bonus of 400. Alternatively, 1500 max health. Then with your cloak, bracelet and belt, you can take more CC resistance if you're stacking a certain type like weaken resistance, or you can go max health. And then your necklace and rings, you can go CC chance or more max health. And that's ultimately it. Again, it's going to depend on the build you're running, what purpose it has, which traits you want to be going for. So now I want to jump to giving some extra tips with the treasure hunt event. Be aware whenever you go past an amatory, they'll shoot you with a little orb and they'll give you a movement speed. You can use that to get around quicker. Additionally, you can place your explosives on the ground and you have a chance to get these rewards. If you've pulled the lever and it reveals those little beacons, then you know where those rewards are. Placing explosives amongst a bunch of them will immediately give you those rewards, or you dig them up. Sometimes you might end up like this guy, where one of the platforms seems a bit higher than it should be. This can be hard to jump up on top of. You can try getting a speed boost from an amatory to help you. You can try looking up when you jump, and otherwise it can sometimes just not be worth your time and to move on. It could really suck if the lever ends up being on the top platform that you need to reach. But in terms of all the rewards you can get from here, it's ultimately not that amazing. And we can see you can get the Waddling Percy Amatory, the Fenrian Skull Dash Morph, then like a bunch of ores, resonance fragments, trait conversions, and extract stones, all from these regular treasure bags that you'll find lying around the place. Then your treasure chests. These you'll dig them up and also find them on some pedestals. They can give you the Waddling Percy Amatory, the Fenrian Skull Dash Morph, the Monarch Raven Glide Morph, which I did obtain, but also the Geode Dracorift Turtle. I believe that's the Swim Morph. And then similarly all those other rewards, including Abyss tokens. But then your goblin chests can give you like rare artifact chests, blessing pouches, precious ore selection chests, and that morph or amatory selection chests with only the 1-star dungeon ones. They're all listed here as well. You can get like mastery, contract tokens, solent, conversion stones, and even some food. Ultimately, this event isn't that amazing. It doesn't have nearly as good rewards as say the goblin event, but it's at least something extra and doesn't really take you a lot of time if you're quick about finding those orbs and portals. When doing these, you should also have the ability to find magic watches, which are like these things that give you 20 seconds more, but I either haven't noticed them or it just never has popped up for me. Again, these amatoids give you a nice speed boost, so whenever possible, go near them. But that's it for this one. Hopefully it was somewhat insightful, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.